Welcome into the latest edition of ESPN FC. I'm Dan Thomas, joined in the studio today by Craig Burley and Shaka Hislop. Just for you, Shaq, we'll start with goalkeepers today.
Thanks, Dan.
Of course, one of the big talking points this weekend was the fact Aaron Ramsdale was dropped. David Raya coming in as Arsenal defeated Everton 1-0. That dominating the headlines in England, but also some of the comments that Mikel Arteta made after the game about some regrets that he's had during his managerial career. Well, after his 2-month holiday, we welcome in former Arsenal fullback Kieran Gibbs is with us. But I feel on this topic we should start with the goalkeeper, Shaq.
Yeah,
being substituted throughout a game.
I am thoroughly confused by what Mikel Arteta is trying to get at. I don't understand anything about what he's saying, about his suggestion. So the reason that you drew 2 games is because you didn't change your goalkeeper on 60 and 85 minutes, respectively, in 2 games at some point over the last 3.5 years. So it comes down to the goalkeeper. Listen, as bad ideas go, this is right up there. I don't think I've heard a worse idea in football. You know, I'm not sure whether it's bad to suggest it, or it's bad to think it, or it's worse to say it out loud. I think what he's done there, and I've been saying this from the get-go, is he is now certainly alienated Aaron Ramsdale. I've been saying all along, if David Raya is your number one, say that. That's my number one, that's who I'm going with. If it's Ramsdale, say that. But this kind of playing the two off of each other, I don't think serves either well. This has kind of gone above and beyond that in a way that I certainly didn't expect. He's totally ostracized Aaron Ramsdale now. I don't know how you bring him back in the camp. So go with David Raya. Why make this bizarre suggestion about substituting the goalkeeper when you're drawing games? And here's the thing. Mikel Arteta has come in for a lot of praise, particularly over the last 12 months. And I am now convinced that he's believing his own hype. He, in his own statement, says he's a manager for 3.5 years. For all the good managers we've seen in this game, for all the incredible managers we've seen through the history of football, it's Mikel Arteta with 3.5 years experience who's come up with this novel masterstroke. And it's bemusing. I don't think it serves anyone well. And in my opinion, it just makes Mikel Arteta look all the more kind of, I don't know, wallowing in it.
What do you think?
Arteta has decided to become the first manager in history to change goalkeepers at any given time. Like what Shaka Hislop is talking about. You never tamper with the goalkeeping position. The reason why you have all the managers who have been successful, from Sir Alex Ferguson, from Jose Mourinho, Pep Guardiola, Jurgen Klopp, all the managers we know who have been successful, I've never had them having a monopoly of saying that if the goalkeeper is not doing well at 60 minutes, we're taking him out and we're putting another one. Even the goalkeeper with no confidence, managers are willing to even allow it to the end for the goalkeeper to keep playing, even though he's not doing so well. Because it's important to build the confidence of the man who's protecting you when it comes to those 2 bars. So if we are just going to watch Mikel Arteta saying that, because I know better, I played as a DM, I'm also going to change the goalkeeper, that is terrible at its level best. I'm telling you, this is going to lead into shambles. That's what's going to happen, to be honest. This is just a... What is the best way to use? This is disaster waiting to happen. I think that's the only thing I can say. Disaster waiting to happen, because we have never seen it. We have been watching football for such a long time. All the managers who have been so successful, they've always had that one goalkeeper who is the best. Never going to have a monopoly of 2 goalkeepers playing. And trust me, people who are talking about this is something new, maybe, just maybe, It's something that we'll learn to appreciate. It's something that he's introducing, which is new. That is just a cup of crepes that Arsenal fans are trying to help themselves to feel better. And you will never understand that if you have been playing as a midfielder or a striker in the game, how important that position is. The reason why the likes of Liverpool, no matter what, even when Alisson makes mistakes, we never have problems because we trust him. I have never seen at any moment when Alisson makes a mistake and the goal goes in, I have never seen Klopp going like substitute when we want him out. Unless it's a preseason game when he's still testing the goalkeepers if they are ready for the season. You don't do that in an active Premier League season. Like what Shaka is saying, it's something new we're seeing. We've never seen it before, and I'm telling you, this will lead to nothing but disaster. This will lead to nothing but disaster. We are going to be talking about this every single week. That look at how the way Aaron Ramsdale is now performing. Look at how David Raya is now performing. Because these are two brilliant goalkeepers who one has to be given the confidence. If you trust one, you got Ramsdale last season because you trusted.
Well, you know what I think? Because when I come in this studio, I'm like, is this really a story? Arsenal won at the weekend. Arsenal didn't lose.
I think it is a story. We've never heard a manager in the past say that he regrets not substituting goalkeepers during matches.
He's different.
But he's trying to be different for no reason.
I can blow that argument out the water in a minute if you just give me a second. Arsenal won yesterday. The big story was Havertz and David Raya playing. This is just nonsensical, overthinking manager speak from last year. Last year's gone.
But that doesn't mean he won't do it. He's brought it up because he regretted it, and he says, "Get ready, because this could actually happen."
But let me tell you how let me tell you how this gets blown out the water from last year. Because last year he had a backup keeper that wasn't good enough in Matt Turner, right? Matt Turner is now at Nottingham Forest for the very reasons I've just mentioned there. That's why David Raya...
No, that's not the point.
The point is...
The point is, it wasn't that he didn't have a good enough goalkeeper to come on and replace Ramsdale. It was that he didn't have the guts to do it. That's what he's saying. He didn't have...
Well, he didn't have the guts to do it because he didn't have a good enough backup goalkeeper.
No, that's not why, because he knew that everybody would question him doing it, and he doubted himself. That's the whole point of him saying this.
And I should be worried about that?
Because it's never happened before. What? Because it's fascinating, because it's interesting, because it's a good point of debate.
I don't see it. I must be missing the point here. I really don't see it. If he starts doing this in the Premier League games coming up, I think it's a talking point. You know, and it affects Arsenal results. But I don't see how Ramsdale has been ostracised, Shaq. I don't. At the end of the day, it's big boys' rules now. David Raya's come in. He's a good goalkeeper. Ramsdale knew that. I actually think it's very unfair. I think Aaron Ramsdale has done very little wrong, right? You can put up an argument to say that this is harsh on him. However, this is big boys' rules. This is what managers do. He's got, and to be fair to him, he's had the courage to do this. I mean, that's just...
No. So, I mean, no. My point to that is, managers do that, change goalkeepers all the time. Mikel Arteta did it. Mikel Arteta left Bernd Leno, who at the time was Germany's number 3, to bring in Aaron Ramsdale under a lot of criticism. That's fine. But swapping a goalkeeper during the game is totally unheard of. We sit here, and when managers do that for penalties, it's a story and it's a talking point. To do that when you're drawing a game with 30 minutes on the clock, that is totally unheard of. And again, for me, if you are doing... I have absolutely no problem with Mikel Arteta saying to Aaron Ramsdale, you're my number 2. David Raya is not my number 1, as he did with Ramsdale and Leno, as I just mentioned. Where I think it just gets downright ridiculous is that likening it to changing the shape of the team. That I can take off a centre forward to bring on a wing back. Why can't I swap goalkeeper for goalkeeper? That's just bizarre.
So what's the difference between bringing a goalkeeper in for penalties at the end of a shootout? You know, our job is to analyse. When this starts affecting Arsenal results, good and bad, give me a phone call, right? Phone me up and say, come in and talk about this. Because at the end of the day, we're judging managers on results. We talked about the Havertz situation. We saw Trossard at the weekend. We saw Fabio Vieira start, right? Mikel Arteta will be judged on results, not judged on what he says at press conferences and some of his harebrained, scare-em ideas, right? That's the bottom line here. Am I right or wrong?
No, you're right. But
we're judging Arsenal Football Club and where they are this year and Mikel Arteta to Manchester City. We're not judging Mikel Arteta to what he says about goalkeepers in a press room when he's got two very good ones, when they've just been to Everton where they've got a terrible record and won. That's not our job.
I'm fine with that, but I reserve the right that if things go hair-shaped, to say that Mikel Arteta got in his own way, because this is what he's shaping up to do.
Listen, David Raya just started at the weekend. I mean, things have not gone pear-shaped. They've not had a chance to go pear-shaped.
I'm just
What's
saying.
the difference between bringing a goalkeeper on for penalties than this suggestion?
You really think it's the same thing?
No, but I'm asking you, what's the mindset of a manager bringing a goalkeeper in for penalty kicks and a World Cup shootout?
Because he's better than penalties. He's better stopping penalties.
And why would he bring a goalkeeper in during the game? Maybe because a goalkeeper's playing badly, or he's not playing the ball out well enough with his feet, or he's not communicating with the back line? No?
So you'd have no problem with it? It wouldn't be a talking point?
I have no problem with it if Arsenal win the game. You've got to understand, our job is to analyse the game. Now,
I don't know why you're so keen to sweep this under the carpet.
Because I think it's all bluff, bluster, and a bit of a non-story.
So why even say it?
Sorry?
Why even bring it up if you're Arteta?
I don't care what you said. I am only judging, personally, on what if Mikel Arteta swaps goalkeepers in the next game after 75 minutes and the goalkeeper makes a clanger that comes on and they lose 3 points, that's a discussion. Right? In my view, that is a huge discussion. The fact he sat there and given some throwaway comment about the goalkeepers, for me, is neither here nor there. Right? That's all I'm saying. Can't be any clearer than that.
I have no problem with Mikel Arteta swapping a goalkeeper mid-game if he's having a bad game. None. I don't see the parallel with swapping a goalkeeper during penalties. You have specialists who do that. I'm fine with that. I just don't. If your suggestion is that my goalkeeper was playing badly and I chickened out, fine. But if you are likening it to changing formation, changing shape to get a result, well, then that makes no real sense to me at all. And while Craig's right, he'll be judged on his results. My concern, if it were me sitting in that dressing room, if it were me as one of Arsenal's goalkeepers, and my manager said that, he's lost me right there straight away. And again, not the first manager to lose the faith of a goalkeeper or vice versa. But, as I said from the time they signed David Raya, say who's your number one. I couldn't care less who you picked. That's his choice. But say who's your number one. Kind of having this hybrid and I'm not sure and doesn't serve either of them well. I'm speaking from experience in that regard. This, for me, is even more bizarre. And again, while Mikel Arteta has been praised a lot, particularly over the last 12 months, he's also coming for some criticism because he tends to overthink. Oh, it seems that way. This, is leaning into that in a way that I never saw coming.
Anybody that goes on the Amazon documentary and talks about light bulbs and all that, they're bizarre. Some of these managers are bizarre. I'm not agreeing with it. I mean, in fact, he's got two very good goalkeepers now. I'm not agreeing with it, but he will be judged ultimately on these decisions. This is hypothetical at the moment.
Let's welcome in Kieran. Kieran, welcome back, mate. You can talk now. What do you think?
Blimey. Okay. Well, first of all, I'm going to have to agree with Craig. You know, he's going to be judged on the decisions that he makes and the results that he gets. If you're going to change a goalkeeper for penalties, then I think that changing a goalkeeper because that goalkeeper is better at a certain area to deal with the threats of the opposition might seem a bit out there now, but, 10 years ago, you would have thought that playing a fullback in central midfield was a bit wacky. And so while I agree that it does seem it seems risky, I feel that until we actually know how it goes down, he can't be judged. But I like the idea that a player, that a manager decides to change a goalkeeper if all of a sudden the opposition in the last 10 minutes brings on a Peter Crouch and his goalie on the bench is better at dealing with crosses. That doesn't seem so crazy to me. The thing that does seem a little bit crazy is the mentality of goalkeepers is totally different to outfield players. It's like a different sport, a goalkeeper. And, it's more like golf or tennis, it's more individual. And so if you're changing a goalie, how that affects that goalie mentally halfway through a game, in the long run, over the course of a season, that's the risky thing for me.
So I'm wondering, in a matter of season, how many mistakes did this guy make to a point that he was awarded the goalkeeper of the season, in terms of in the team of the season? How much mistakes did he make to a point that now as a manager you come in and you say that you'd prefer to have another player in David Raya who can come in and actually do well for you? Because what I'm seeing right now, this is nonsense. This is something that we'll keep talking about and even asking if there's any direction that this team is going. I'm telling you, I believe that Arsenal, we're going to be contenders for this season's Premier League. But because of these experiments that Mikel Arteta keeps on doing, we are still trying to deal with the Kai Havertz experience. We are still trying to understand what exactly is his mission over the Kai Havertz issue. That 90% of the people are wondering if this is even a good idea or what. But he continues. He continues. When you think he has done it all, he outdoes himself, Arteta. He keeps outdoing himself every single time with some crazy and terrible decision. And this is one he's going to live to regret. This is one he's going to live to regret, because even Pickford for England, as much as most of the people feel like he's not the best goalkeeper in England, everyone knows that if by any chance the manager of England starts tampering with that position, that is leading England into nothing but disaster. I don't know. Maybe I'm just saying too much. Maybe I'm just fearing something that has never happened in football, and I'm afraid to see if it's gonna be a success or even a shamble. I'm just afraid. Maybe that's who I am, or maybe I'm just one of the Saudi rival fans that people expect me to say something because I've never seen it in my own team, so I have to be a rival or something like that. But history tells us that there's a reason why people never tamper with that position, because the confidence of a goalkeeper is different from any player who plays in the ground. It's so fragile. It's so fragile. I have no idea why. I'm not saying that they're not strong mentality-wise. The skills it takes for a goalkeeper to be a goalkeeper, for a person to choose himself to be a goalkeeper, to work so hard to be the best, there must be a reason. And now that this guy comes in and he feels like, because he plays, there's a DM in football, he can come in and tamper with this thing. This is something that we're going to live to regret. I don't know. Tell me if you agree with Craig, who feels like he knows everything. He feels like what Mikel Arteta is not even a problem, because the goalkeeper is like any other player in the striking force. But every goalkeeper I've heard from, Schmeichel, Shaka, all of them, they're talking against this decision. Let's see. I'm out. Click the like button, subscribe to Connect. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section.